Okay, so we're living in this incredible world, right? We've got these AI-powered super tools that make us faster, smarter, and more efficient than ever. But here's the thing, why do so many of us feel more distracted and overwhelmed than ever before? It's a huge paradox, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into today, exploring if an ancient practice, mindfulness, might just be the key to mastering our modern AI-driven lives. So, you've got AI on one hand, it's all about speed, data, making everything faster, more efficient. And then on the other side, you've got mindfulness, which is kind of the total opposite, right? It's all about slowing down, being present, focusing inward. It really feels like we're being pulled into completely different directions. So what's the answer? How do we find some kind of balance here?
All right, AI versus human awareness, the rise of two powers. To get to the bottom of this, we're going to explore how these two kind of superpowers came to be. We'll start with what they really are, and then we'll see what happens when they smash into each other in our daily lives.
So let's start with mindfulness. Now, this is a practice with roots that go way, way back. At its core, it's all about paying attention to what's happening right now, in the present moment, without judging it. You can almost think of it like an anchor. You know, in this crazy storm of information and notifications and everything flying at us, it's what holds you steady. And then you've got AI. I mean, this is the engine of efficiency. It's just incredible at processing massive amounts of data, automating tasks. Basically, it helps us do more way faster than we ever could before. It's an amazing tool, but, like any powerful tool, its impact really depends on how we use it. All right, so this brings us to our modern dilemma, the collision. What really happens when these two powerful forces, this drive for, external efficiency and our very human need for internal stability, what happens when they slam into each other every single day? Well, that's the big question we're all wrestling with. And this quote right here, it just nails the problem. When we just blindly adopt AI without thinking, it can lead to what a lot of us are already feeling, cognitive overload. I'm talking about that feeling, the one where you're just constantly bombarded with information, with notifications pinging all the time, and that pressure to just be on 24/7. That's cognitive overload. So here's a really fascinating insight from an expert in this field, Dr. Arvind Gudi. He says multitasking is basically an oxymoron. And you might be thinking, what? I multitask all the time. But here's the thing. Our brains are actually wired to do one thing at a time. So when we think we're multitasking, what we're really doing is just switching our focus back and forth super, super fast. And every single switch costs us a little bit of mental energy. It fragments our attention, and honestly, it just leads to burnout. So is that it? Are we just doomed to live in this state of constant distraction? Well, not at all, actually. Dr. Gudi points to a way forward, a path to harmony that turns this collision into something more like a partnership. And this, right here, is the absolute key. Mindfulness and AI don't have to be enemies. Instead of fighting against technology, we can use mindfulness as a counterbalance. Think of it this way. It gives us that human-centered awareness we need to actually guide AI's incredible power. It makes sure that these tools are serving us and our goals, not the other way around. Okay, I absolutely love this metaphor from Dr. Gudi. He says to think of your mind like a movie screen, and all the thoughts, the emotions, the worries that flash across it, that's the movie. Sometimes it's a comedy, right? Sometimes it's a total drama. But the screen itself, it doesn't change. It stays stable, clear, and totally unaffected. And that's what mindfulness helps us do. It helps us become the screen, so we can observe the wild movie of our lives without getting completely lost in the plot. This leads us to a really, really powerful framework he calls the data to wisdom pyramid. And for me, this is a real aha moment. It shows us exactly how AI and mindfulness can and should work together. Okay, so check out this breakdown. AI is an absolute master of the bottom two levels. It takes all that raw data, just bits and bytes, and organizes it into useful information. It's incredible at that. But here's the catch. It can't go any further by itself. To climb up to knowledge, we have to add our human experience, our values. And to get to the very top, to wisdom, well, that requires uniquely human things like deep insight, intuition, gut feelings. And that is where mindfulness comes in. So AI gives us the what, but mindfulness helps us figure out the why. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time on the why this is so important. Now let's get practical. Let's talk about the how. How can we actually build these skills in our crazy, busy digital lives?
This guide here really breaks it down into a few core ideas. It all starts with intentional awareness, using simple things like your breath as an anchor, and then finding ways to weave these practices into your everyday life.
All right, so here's your toolkit. These are some simple, totally achievable habits you can start building like today. First, just start with intentional awareness. Just decide to pay attention. Next, try to let go of the multitasking myth. Really focus on one thing at a time. When you feel scattered, use your breath as an anchor to ground yourself. It's always there. And this is a big one. Learn to just observe your thoughts, like they're clouds passing by. You don't have to jump on every single one. And hey, be kind to yourself. This is a practice, not a performance. And of course, it can be a huge help to set some clear boundaries with your tech, and maybe even connect with other people who are on the same journey.
And look, the main thing to remember is this isn't about being perfect. It's all about progress. You've probably heard this before, but they say it can take just 21 days of being consistent to form a new habit. So just start small, try to stick with it, and honestly, before you know it, these things can become a totally natural part of your day. So I want to leave you with this final question to think about. As AI keeps getting smarter and smarter, how will you choose to become wiser? I mean, the technology is only going to keep accelerating, but the future of our focus, our clarity, and our wisdom, well, that's still in our hands. The real question is, what are you going to do with it?